right, ladies and gentlemen, in the midst of all the visa drama, everybody seems to have forgotten the ever so important tier list, and this could potentially be our last COD Mobile Champs tier list ever. We have no idea if we're going to have COD Mobile Esports next year. Things have not looked great as of recently, so I figured we've got to make one final list just to give our predictions for what to expect in the World Championship. So we got our contenders, got our playoff teams, Dark Horse, could win a match, thanks for coming, and Visa Headshot for the teams that have already been taken out of the competition. We're going to go ahead and hop into this. I am going to go ahead and say, for teams I have in playoff team, this is not necessarily the teams I think will make playoffs, because there are some groups that are definitively stronger, but this is purely based off what if it was completely even playing field, who I think would make playoffs for top 8 teams. So obviously we'll have 8 teams that are in contender or playoff. Everybody else falls below that. We're going to go ahead and hop in. Visa Headshot, we got Godlike, we've got Soul, and we've got SPG already taken out of the competition. We do feel for those guys as they worked all year long to get to where they were and were not able to make it into the competition, at least not completely. You guys will notice we have a Godlike Soul merger logo right there. For those of you who didn't see, they decided the merge team, their name is New Gen Ninjas. I know you made the team name and you put a lot of work into it, but that is one of the worst team names I've ever heard of. I can't sugarcoat it. Just terrible. Please never name a team again. Okay. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, obviously we do have down here the different groups and everything, just so that we can kind of scroll through for expectations of what these teams are going to do based on the groups that they're in. But we're going to go ahead and hop into things. First up, we got Galoris. I don't think they're quite a contender right now. Obviously, being in the West, they've not had that same level of competition to go up against, so it's tough to expect them to really contend with the top teams who have been going at each other for the entirety of this year. But I think that they can make some noise, absolutely. And I would love to see them win the whole thing. Like, that would be an amazing storyline, absolutely no question. I think TLE are a dark horse. They have a very solid team from what I've heard. They've done well in scrims. And to be honest, I think they'll probably make the playoffs. I don't think Bear Clan are beating them, and I don't think this replacement team is either going to be Animus. I believe it's going to be Animus, because the number 1 seed should be the Godlike Soul merger team, and this should be the number 2 team. So I believe with Animus being that technical number 2 team, they'll be there, and I don't see TLE losing to them. So I think they're a dark horse team, and I do think they are going to make playoffs. I think Amigos are also a dark horse team, although I'd probably put them closer to the bottom of the tier. Looking at their group, they've got Elevate. They could potentially make playoffs. It really just depends on how that Soul-like team are looking, because we have absolutely no clue if they're going to just go crazy with a chip on their shoulder, having both of them lost their teams, or if it's just going to be too late for them to have built chemistry. Amigos could very well make playoffs too. I think Street are could win a match. They're in the same group as Unmythic Dream. I think they could definitely beat Unmythic Dream. I don't see them really being a dark horse contender. Didn't look particularly strong in their matches in LATAM Stage 4, so I'd put them there. And I would put Unmythic Dream there because they're in the same group and either of them could really beat the other, but don't have high expectations. We got XG Esports Legacy. No disrespect, man. Y'all are in NA. It's not that I blame you. It's not that I blame you for being in Thanks for Coming. But the number 3 seed in NA, who is completely chalked, you know. Next up, we got DVS. I guess DVS are kind of a favorite to be a playoff team right now. Looking at the group that they're in, really any of those 3 teams on a given day, I feel like could beat each other. So we could potentially see DVS, Street, or Unmythic Dream making playoffs. I don't know. I don't know if I can really definitively. I feel like just because of the reps that they've gotten in the stadium, we probably have them as a playoff team. Just looking at the groupings and everything that we've got right now, I think they're probably a playoff team. Bear Clan, I'm gonna hold out hope and say that Bear Clan could win a match. I don't think it's likely that Bear Clan win a match. Once again, they're at such a big deficit with the country restriction, everything that went into champs qualifiers for Africa. They're brand new, and they could be going up against Animus. So if they're going up against Animus, I would say actually decent chance that they win a match. But I don't see them being a dark horse or a playoff team. Can't really justify putting them any higher. Next up, we got Exclusive. Exclusive are just in such a difficult spot because I do think, are a dark horse team. I'm not going to definitively say they're a playoff team. I think that they are a dark horse team. I think they could potentially be above TLE. I know these guys have been putting in a lot of work. The big thing is they're in the group of death. It's not even like the team that got taken out of the group of death got replaced by a substantially easier team because it's OUG. Now, it is going to be a substantially nerfed OUG team. No Seven, no Jabin, and not a lot of practice time. But that's still not an easy team by any stretch of the imagination. So I would love to see Exclusive be in really any other group. I think any other group, and they could potentially make playoffs. It pains me that this group is what it is because given, once again, even playing field among every team, I think every single team in this group could potentially make playoffs. And it's unfortunate that the grouping ended up the way that it did. Next up, we got Elevate. That's going to be our first contender team. I don't think anybody would disagree with this. Won Garena, won champs last year, didn't lose anybody to visa issues. That they should be the favorites coming into the competition. I would say there's no question about that. Stalwart also going into that contender tier, and I think for me, just a spot below Elevate. Might get bumped down a little bit after some of the Chinese teams, but Stalwart obviously beat them in Garena Masters. So I think there's a possibility where Stalwart win, and that's why it's the contender tier. Like, in my mind, anybody in the contender tier, it would not be surprising if they won the World Championship. Even though they lost Rise, I think Wolves are still in there. I think I do have to put them a notch below Stalwart just because Rise was such an important player. King didn't really look amazing in his return to X-Rock. Once again, not his fault. He just hadn't really been in the rotation, but he's also going to have not been in the rotation for Wolves. I think they definitely have an uphill battle, but I think they are still contenders in the competition. Next up, we got Q9. Apparently, they do have Cloud traveling with the team. They lost Sun. I think Sun's officially retired. I believe Zero was underage. Even if they had Zero, he did not look good at all in CDM playoffs. So, in my mind, I think Q9 pretty much at full strength right here. I think they are probably second favorite in the competition just because they're going in at full strength. They've got Wuling on land buff. I think Q9 have the potential to finally break the second place curse. I really hope that they do. Oh, it's gonna be interesting to see, absolutely for sure. Then we've got Soul-like. I think you've got to put them in Dark Horse just because, once again, this team, assuming they just realized they're coming together, have absolutely no idea what they're capable of. They have very skilled players, no question, but chemistry is such a big factor. Trying to hone in your strategies on a map-by-map basis is going to be really difficult to do on effectively a brand new roster, and this is going to be the most nerfed roster. So I think they're definitely a dark horse, and I don't know. I'm not even sure how to move around some of these because we said we were going to have 8 teams in either contender or playoff team. I think OUG probably just ahead of DVS. I would definitely not put them ahead of Galores given how little time they've had to practice and the fact that, once again, they don't have 2 of their main snipers, but I think they are still better than DVS. DVS didn't come anywhere close to beating them. And this is their... Once again, it's their main respawn roster, so worst case scenario, win 3 respawns, you make it through. I think they're chilling. Animus, No disrespect to them. They were the most last minute addition. I have no idea if those guys had practice at all as of recently. So in my mind, they're another thanks for coming last second addition just to make sure that we have 16 teams that are at the competition. And I do feel like I need to move one team up into playoff team, but I don't know who it should be. I think I gotta kind of leave this as it is. And we'll kind of see where it goes from there. But I feel pretty good about this. If I'm being realistic, Bear Clan probably goes a little bit lower and could win a match. But I'm gonna hold out hope and believe that Bear Clan can make some noise in COD Mobile Champs. That's going to wrap things up for our tier list. Let me make sure I have enough teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, that's all 16 teams. That's going to wrap things up for the video. I'll link the tier list in the description down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.